Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining. I can see now you all are joining this 17th episode of Wild Wild Slide series, Lounge Section. Since I started this, I'm so happy and so delighted each Sunday when I invite a distinguished guest or some very, very dear old friend who have been doing so much amazing work, not only professionally but also incorporating their spiritual growth, their touch of consciousness, and so they are actually consciously creating their. Thank you, Shankla. I'm very happy to finally see you in this chat room. So tonight I am inviting a very, very dear old friend whom I have been admiring the day I met for the first time. It was like about maybe 20 years from now when I came to Pune for good, and he was the first musician, and his group was the first group of musicians whom I met in Pune. And since then we had a great rapport. We did so many projects together, so many concerts, and I have been amazed again and again whenever I see his new compositions, his work. And he is such a prolific composer. And I mean, I have seen many people compose, heard many people's compositions, but the way he weaves his music, the way he composes, the sensitivity of each note is incredible. I mean, no note can ever miss your heart. Always to the point, bullseye, and it's done and dusted. I mean, every composition of his is a sheer masterpiece. He doesn't go beyond that or below that. This is the kind of talent, caliber, sensitivity I have seen in his music, his work, and across so many genres like fusion, spiritual music, world music, mantra music, Sufi music, whatnot. He was one of the pioneers in his time when he was he and Joshua were together in the band, and they were doing amazing pioneering work in world music in 90s and then 2000s also. So he is one of the brightest shining star in the field of music worldwide. He is acclaimed worldwide. He is recognized worldwide. And to me, he is like a fellow traveler, a very, very good friend whom I can connect with, relate with, talk with about any topic under the sun. and we share great rapport. And now, without any delay, I would rather invite him and and talk directly with him. Manish, uh, this request, and you're most welcome here. Hello, namaste, namaste, Manish bhai.
Namaste, Manish. Manish on the one hand, Manish on the other hand.
Or another Manish 1, Manish 2. Like we used to do in a music department, you remember?
Yes,
Somebody has to do Manish guitar, Manish santoor, tabla, or
tabla,
whatever.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Now here
So
we are
many,
both with glasses.
yes, white hair, trying to
Yeah.
make them gray or black.
I'm not trying because I'm losing it already.
Yeah, you are in a better position then. Yeah.
Yes.
So many fond memories, so many. I mean, it seems when we meet and we connect that we have seen a lifetime together,
Yes.
especially our spiritual lifetime together. And we have seen each other grow, we have seen each other blossom, we have seen each other growing into our respective genres and musicalities and also spiritualities. So, and I am very happy whoever is joining here, guys. I won't interrupt my flow, but I am acknowledging all of you. Thank you so much for being here. So, connecting with you, Manish, has always been so special because you are such a special musician to me right from the
Whatever.
day one. No,
Nothing
it's
like
not
that.
a no, because I've seen people compose, but
Hmm.
you put such heart into each line, each note. Every line is such a, I mean, thoroughly thought of, and like it's like perfect, nailed to the end. I mean, there's no room for any other any other variation for that. I mean, it's
Hmm.
a masterpiece from the beginning, and that's it. You have to take it like that. So,
All His
so
grace.
all His grace, and
Hmm.
you have put His grace into a very well-meaning, skillful medium which you express through your music, which is so good. I mean, people do get blessings, but not many people translate it into amazing work. Let us say, let's use this word work,
Hmm.
and then to express themselves in that way. So I'm really happy to, first of all, that you are such a special friend of mine, an old friend of mine, and then such a special great musician. So what have for you all this journey, like this is my perspective I'm saying. So what how do you see your journey up till now?
Hmm. Uh, I mean, though a lot has happened in these many years since we started learning music and playing music. And but when I look back, and I'm sure you will agree with me, then you realize that there is still a lot to be done. And it seems
Definitely.
like the journey has just begun.
Yes, very true.
Although we both are more or less at the middle stage of our life, but
Yeah.
at sometimes we would wish that if we had more chance to absorb and go deeper into our own traditions of music and spirituality both,
Yes, true.
then of course lifetimes will be not enough.
Definitely.
So but like as I said, that whatever has happened in all these years, the main intention by sharing the music has always been how to, in best possible way, to express that grace,
Beautiful.
to pass on that feeling of, you know you could call it
Blessing.
love, blessing, love, gratitude, silence, celebration, um, serenity, whatever that in our journey of music and meditation we have gone through.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think in some way we are lucky that we have a channel of music through which we can express it and reach people. So yes, journey has been really, not only blessed, but it's been beautiful. And whatever has happened, I'm really extremely grateful to, all the grace of the masters. And when I say masters, it means our spiritual masters, our musical masters.
Definitely.
And apart from that, people who came in our lives and who taught
Yes.
us many things. And,
Definitely.
even interactions with musicians, like, how you and I interacted, or many other people that we have been continuously learning. So, the journey becomes more and more beautiful. And I wish that it may never end.
Yes, definitely. Sure, sure, sure. I totally connect with what you are saying because I mean, we have lived a parallel life in that sense. And we know when we start a process of spiritual growth, spiritual transformation side by side, along with the journey of art and the journey of spiritual growth, when they are intertwined together, then something very special anyway is born, which is little bit out of the ordinary. And although it is also very ordinary, may seem very simple in many ways, but still it contains such depth of that transformatory consciousness. That's why
Hmm.
Osho talked, like our master also
Yeah,
talked about conscious creativity.
exactly. Yeah,
Now the conscious creativity is exactly what we are imbibing in our own ways. I mean, we are also in a learning process, but we are trying to express without trying to express. So it simply channels through us whatever grace has opened our boundaries, our minds, our hearts, our beings. And with this openness, the grace is simply downloaded into our system, and that has been simply,
yeah, exactly. Meaning it's I've seen many times, and I'm sure a lot of musicians will agree, is that I think the art is to remain available
yes,
in
open
the
and
right
available.
moment.
Yeah.
And in that moment, when you let go and you become like an empty bamboo, hollow bamboo, then he plays through you.
Yes, yes, yes.
तो मेरे ख्याल से जो उपज की जो सबसे अच्छी डेफिनेशन है ना, वो यही हो सकती है. हम जो
Definitely.
शास्त्रीय संगीत में what we call उपज, I think
Improvisation.
I think this could be a very good definition, that we become like a hollow bamboo
Yeah,
and let him
yeah.
or her play through us. And
Yes,
that's why
yes.
many times, when I compose something, and sometimes compositions just came like boom, landed, like crash landed. And in that moment, you are overwhelmed, you are, amazed by the beauty of that composition. Of course, the ego would like to take the credit of it, that I did this and I composed this. But if you are a little bit intelligent, and if you are aware, and if you are conscious about the mechanism of existence, then you would know that you are not the creator.
We are
You
all
are,
just mediums,
yeah,
mediums.
like a simple
Conduit.
transmitter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And in that moment, our frequency was open, so it came,
It
and
came.
you were the one to receive it. So that's it.
Like I say, it's simply downloading divine divinity, and
Uh-huh.
then and then creating and then expressing it further because the divinity needs us in that sense, because when the divinity chooses talented musician, let's suppose we're talking about music, so when the divinity is expressing through a musician, then whatever musician has learned the musicality,
Hmm.
his skills, his mindset, his so openness is there, and then his skills further make it a presentable product later on. That okay,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So uh,
In Hindi we say ना कि यही राज है और राज को राज रहने दो बस.
राज ही रहने दो. But you
Let the
know, we are
mystery be
drunk.
mystery.
But we are so drunk with this divine that we also cannot stop blabbering about it, Manish, because because this is our life purpose in that sense. I mean, what else we are doing? We कोई भी excuse हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, ले दे के हम उसी सा पर आ जाते हैं, उसी सा की divinity पर आ जाते हैं, या
Yeah,
वही हमारी धुरी हो जाता है. I mean, what can we else do? We try to, even if we try to do anything else, simply not possible, at least not in this age. So
right.
so let's play something, Manish. Let's hear what your masterpieces are.
Oh,
I
don't
am
call them
your big,
masterpieces.
I am your biggest fan in my capacity. I have really admired your music right from the day one.
No, that is meaning it's been a pleasure. I remember still the first day you came to Pune and to the ashram, and I think we were rehearsing for our kirtan
Yes, yes,
next
yes, yes.
upcoming kirtan. So,
Yeah,
and we were really delighted that finally we have a Mohan Veena player,
yes, yes,
एकदम
yes.
रागदारी बजाने वाला कोई. Because before that we didn't had anybody who was a ragdari
Yeah.
person. So, and then of course all those fusion concerts and all that. So if you remember in 2000, no, it was 2001, I think, that
Maybe, yes.
we were, I think in 2 consecutive years we did this. I had a band called India Trance, and we did a few very soft and very upbeat pieces. And one of my favorite pieces is Mira. If you remember, I think you were there playing in that concert.
I
I,
was damn lucky to be there, to be part of that amazing, incredible night, unforgettable night of my
yeah,
life, because one of the best fusion music was presented there at that time. And somehow everything was so in sync, so magically sync. Everything everybody was doing on stage was like, wow.
yeah.
So
It
great,
was, I
great. That
still
was
remember
great.
14th January 2001.
Oh, wow. Okay, 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 okay.
बड़ा शुभ दिन था वैसे भी मकर संक्रांति.
Makar Sankranti, right, 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 right.
So think everything fell in places.
Yes, yes.
So Mira, I thought we can do. It's
Sure,
a
sure.
beautiful, just a little intro meaning, and it's like a. I don't know if this rag as a raga if it exists or not, but it's a beautiful combination of Malkons and Jog for people who know the, the raga music. Misa Nisa Dani Sama Gama Sama Gani Sa Sagamada Gama Pani Gama Gani Sa
Wow, wow.
Num Tananum
Wow.
Tadare Tanidi Dim Dim Tanadere Num. Please.
Please, please. Please,
नहीं
please. Sorry, sorry.
एको मतलब
I will
उसको
later, yeah.
कॉल रिस्पॉन्ड
Yeah,
कर
yeah,
दो.
yeah. Okay,
नुम
okay.
तननुम तदारे तानी दे दीम दीम तना दे रे ना. क्या नूतननं तदारतानि देव देव Oh, dere na ta dare ta ni din din tar dere na ta dare ta ni din din. Num tana num ta dare din 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 tana dere ta diyan din ta dere Oh, ta diyan din ta dere Num tana num ta dare ta ni din din tana dere
क्या बात है.
Dim dim tana derana.
हारमोनियम चालू रखो.
Num tana num tana
क्या
num tana num tana. Num tana num tana num tana num tana.
क्या बात है.
Num tana num tana num tana.
Wow. Wow. We are downloading Divinity with 100 Mbps speed.
We are drowning in divinity.
So nice. Such an amazing set of, I mean, only a person, I feel, it's my impression that only person who is so much beautiful from inside can create such beauty for the outside, because otherwise it's not possible. I would say it's impossible. The kind of sensitivity you bring into each note, into each line. I've heard other compositions also. I mean, but every time it's the same class.
Meaning, when I compose the music, uh, okay, like you and other musicians, we all have had our share of classical music training,
Yes, yes.
and what we usually see is that music skills that are learned, a lot of times they are used to impress people because it's about performance, it's about good quality of entertainment. Now, when my journey, of course there was a journey of learning the music, but then what was really significant in this whole journey was that when I became part of the music activities in the ashram, and Osho was still there, luckily.
Mm.
So from 1988, a certain understanding started developed that how to create music which is a little bit beyond entertainment, और कि जो म्यूजिक एक साधक के जीवन में कैसे यूजफुल हो सकता है, how certain kind of music can help the journey of a seeker. So that's why, in ashram, we used to always play and nobody was actually looking at us. We were creating and trying to provide a purposeful music for creating a certain space. It was not a performance. So from that time already, that thing was very clear that let's make music which is not about impressing people, but which brings a person into a certain state of being, whether it is a state of silence, whether it is a state of celebration or a gratitude or bhakti, jo bhi keh lo, depending. So then one has to put a very clear vision in it, clear direction in it, apart from the impressive stuff. So all these things really help me to move into that direction. At least that intention was there. Now I don't know how much I've been successful in that, but at least from my side, it was always clear that let's make purposeful music.
Yes, meaningful music which helps. Like Osho also so many times pointed out that real music is that which takes you to the door of meditation or to your inner sanctum, let's say.
Yeah.
So, but of course, then you have to also leave the music, and because only silence can go inside, or only silently you can go inside. In terms of example, so. So at least we create music which uplifts the audience in a certain way that is beyond the mundane and it's towards the sacred. And this is not also deliberate. Like what you are composing is not so deliberate, like you said, it comes. So it's more of a happening. But of course, when we go into arranging and this and that,
then
of course,
you have to
then
get
we need
active.
our skill, then we
Yeah.
need our understanding of music.
Yeah,
Then so
that
many.
seed arrives, and then
Yeah,
yes, the whole, what spices you put in the dish and all that. Yes, that you have to have certain skills and clarity. Yes, that's
great.
true. And in that journey also, two people played very important role in my life. Especially one was,
Yes.
of course, Osho. That if you remember, Osho used to say that your music should be like these five fingers, where a finger begins and ends, but the gap between the finger begins but doesn't end. And if your music doesn't create that kind of silence, then it's just organized noise.
Hmm.
So that always stayed with me.
Hmm.
And second thing was when I met my second master after Osho, Gurudev, we lovingly call him Gurudev, Chaitanya Bharati.
Hmm.
And he used to have he still has very good vision about purposeful music. So he used to always tell me that, look, Manish, there is a music of Manoranjan, and then there is music of Manobhanjan.
Hmm.
The Manoranjan is entertainment, but Manobhanjan is music which can take you beyond the mind, which more or less quietens the mind. So both those things have really helped me in that way, and that is still continuing. That grace, that understanding has guided me throughout.
Beautiful. And also, many people know you through your association and your band with Joshua at that time, which was 90s. You were doing amazing work, one album after another, and you were pioneers in world music also in that sense, because you were doing very good path making and path breaking stuff in that sense, because the ideas, the compositions, the way you were fusing different genres together, like tarana and classical with modern beats, and all these things were happening so effortlessly. It was so organically done that it became a benchmark for later music makers in this genre. So tell us
Yeah,
about this experience now with your band Humsafar, and how did you? Uh,
yeah. Meaning with Joshua, I've been musically associated since the early 90s, meaning right from his first album. I used to play tabla on his each and every CD. Then later, as some of my boundaries expanded into singing and santur and composing.
mhm.
So until almost 98, my role was as a accompanist musician with him.
Mhm.
But once I joined his band, then somehow that boundary expanded into becoming a co-composer with certain works.
Mhm.
So we had first this Humsafar band. We had 2 successful years traveling in Europe.
Mhm.
Eventually, that band dispersed, but we two continued working together as a duo,
Mhm.
and that somehow working intensely together brought the best out of both of us.
Mhm.
And our first joint album, Water Down the Ganges, came
Yes,
out
yes.
in, I think, 2002.
Mhm.
And I think it is still doing very well. I see on Spotify and all others. It is
Mhm.
still usually on my all albums on high ranking. And so then, we started touring in the US and Europe and Southeast Asia. And all that was a very good learning for me about,
Mhm.
and for him also, because
Mhm.
we were complementing each other,
Yes,
meaning
sure.
whichever was maybe lacking in me, I would learn from him whatever I could provide. So we were like
Mhm.
really, as I said, bringing the best out of each other. It was a very good experience. And
Mhm.
I was doing that until 2005.
Mhm.
Then I kind of felt like, okay, I need to take a step back, do something
Mhm.
else. So then
Mhm.
I stopped touring with him.
Mhm.
But it was very, very definitely on many levels, like because touring also gives you an experience, a lot of
Yes.
learning, to deal with different situations, different
Mhm.
stage situation, different
Mhm.
challenges.
Places.
Like, suddenly this is
Mhm.
missing. So what do? You have to come up with solutions.
Mhm.
The logistics of traveling, planning this, that, and all that. So, and of course, that at age we could do touring and all that.
Mhm.
So it was a good, definitely good learning experience.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why no. Also, when we travel as a musician, I understand, because traveling is not only about just going to another place, but also when we perform in a different city, different time zone, different area, different geography, different sound acoustically. And because what we have been thinking of our band sound, let's say, theoretically, may change place to place, because suddenly some place is more favoring the bass frequency and some places less
Yeah, that's
favoring the high
always challenging.
frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much to adapt, and then suddenly your sound is different, the same piece sounds different. And this is also
Yeah, meaning
something.
people, I think most people who are in the audience have no idea
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
it takes for that music to be heard by them.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
All the hard work behind it and the pre-rehearsals before you start touring. But I think it's a very important experience in every musician's life, especially if it's a band thing and traveling and touring. Yes, so it happened, and yes, it was very good.
Another thing that comes to my mind in this context is that in like 90s, 2000 and beginning and all that, like those 2 decades, let's say, or even till the next decade also, there was a lot of band music, like people forming bands and then they creating music, world music, combining things, trying to experiment and all that. You think that this is now a little bit slowed down in this in last 5, 7, 8 years, or it has been transformed into, like, because people are more into now online releases, and they can, and now anybody can create an album from his desktop also. So you, what is the future like you for you, band music, like will it be again like people are traveling like in bands and going to places?
Yeah, well, of course, from the current point, you can't say anything about live.
That's, yeah.
And I sincerely hope for the for the life of the culture, for the life of arts, for the soul of music and everything. And that live music, there is no replacement of live
No
music.
substitute for live
There is
music.
no
Yeah.
substitute, and I hope people remember that and not get satisfied with online things and these all virtual things, because all that material is already available on YouTube, or you just open in the internet and thousands of fantastically
Millions of tracks,
millions of audios, videos, everything is at your fingertips.
fingertip, almost
But if,
free.
yeah, everything is for free, but still, why? I'm sure that again, versus that, if people would have a choice of a live concert, and maybe it doesn't even sound good, maybe the lights are not that great, but still people would prefer that. And for that matter, I think the phenomenon of bands, phenomenon of live concerts, phenomenon of solo concert, it has a. I don't think it will end. It has a great potential. I just hope that the changes which may come in the near future will continue to allow that, so that people may continue to have that luxury of live music, because right
Definitely,
now it seems
definitely.
like a luxury, like so was suddenly you hear of a live, like just few days
Before,
back,
yeah, before
after
everybody,
1 year of gap, just few days back I had a small event with 20-30 people, and it was such a pleasure
yeah,
to finally sit in front of real people
and
and
play
feel
real.
that exchange of energy.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, there is always a lot of potential in that.
So many things that were taken for granted pre-COVID
Yes.
era. Now
Yeah.
we yearn for it and we say, wow, so valuable that was. Everything was the
Yeah.
freedom to move around, the mobility. I mean, in terms of music, musicians, like we all know how
Yeah.
important it is to go around, and because there's so much involved organically, the
Yeah.
growth, the expression, energy that musicians bring in. It's my perspective that, in my opinion, whenever the normalcy returns, in whatever way it returns, uh, the musicians will really value now this thing, and so they will be more serious about. I hope that they are what content they are putting together, because there are lots of youngsters raring to go, like, oh, I get this opportunity and I will jump into it and all that. But hopefully this has taught so many musicians, especially because now they know the importance of a live gig, a live concert where music actually happens,
Yeah.
and the audience is also creating, helping in the music indirectly, because they are the receivers, and if the receiver is absent, then the music is just falling into the walls. So
Yeah. Also, because in this whole period, I think one of the most suffered industries arts,
arts, yes,
musicians.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So whenever this thing is over, then let's hope that arts get the first boost.
They
And
will, because
you
people
know,
are hungry now.
yeah. So because okay, these online concerts, all that, but you know, first of all, it's not a replacement. I always sometimes during this whole period, many times I was asked for some online concerts,
Mhm.
and personally, I've not been too much in favor of it, because I don't want to create a false replacement of the same thing. I would prefer that let them wait, and then when the time is right, we will do the actual thing. In certain things are not possible. I jokingly say, can you have online swimming lesson? So, so the same way, some things, although technology may allow, okay, technology can do anything, but that doesn't mean that you start replacing that actual
Human
flavor
energy
of,
and
yeah,
human
let that human
interaction.
element be there. Okay, fine, for a few months you don't listen to live music, so okay, but then it creates more thirst.
Mm.
If people keep on getting online things, then they may not value
Mm.
the actual preciousness of music and musicians, and
Mm.
like people, you and I and many people, like thousands and millions, hundreds and thousands of musicians, we have invested our whole life into it where we are.
Mm. Mm.
We cannot get it wasted through this technical online thing and all that. Okay, teaching and all that is okay, but I think as far as really sharing the energy of the music is concerned, let us, keep it with the live format, and let's not try to replace it through this online things. That is my personal thing. Of course, everybody has freedom to. I'm
Oh,
sure,
that's
of
true.
course, artists also are, thirsty for it. But sometimes maybe out of desperation they are trying to remain visible through these online things and all that. But personally, I feel they are reducing their own value and the value of live music. That is my personal feeling. I may be wrong, but ultimately, yes, there is a lot of potential of live music and live concerts and bands. And yes, you are right. Nowadays, it is. What is great is that it is very easy to make your music available. In the early days, we were dependent on the labels and things like that. Now that middleman has gone, more or less. But because there's so much availability, to create your presence takes time, takes little persistence. But that much is, of course, needed. And there are great tools to do that also. Now, at the end of the day, if your music has something, one day or other, it will reach and it will grow its reach. It has happened in my case. Okay, I've been kind of on this field for 15 years and it has grown gradually. It has never like shoot up or something. It has grown gradually. So, if any of the young musicians are hearing this, they can be rest assured that yes, the focus should be on enjoying what you do. The focus should be on doing it sincerely and dedicatedly without any goal as such. Results always come.
Very good message. Very good. Very good.
You are experienced, so you know.
Yes. And um, this brings me to another question or topic, that you have now working more into mantras, mantra music, and spiritual music. So why was the shift, or it was maybe not a shift, but a organic growth or evolution towards it, let's say. But what and how is your experience to create mantra music? What are your tips for people who might be like, there are millions of mantra musicians now, so thousands of, let's say. So 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 from your perspective, like, you are super experienced, super deep into it, you understand it so well, the sensitivity of it, the what goes into it, like, it's not just creating any other music, but so how do you see and how do you put it?
I mean, as far as mantras are concerned, having born and brought up in India and lived almost whole life, knowingly, unknowingly, you are always surrounded by it. As a kid, I even remember our day in the school used to start with Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu. One of the first Shanti mantras from Upanishads. Then even sometimes our schools would take us to the local Ramakrishna ashram where there was a Sanskrit reciting competition. Though I never took part in it, but you are sitting there and for 5-6 hours you're listening to it. So somewhere it goes unconsciously in your system. Then, while learning the music, when you step on a spiritual path, so naturally, as a musician, your opening happens towards all the spiritual content. So when we say spiritual content, meaning, us being from India, obviously there is no shortage of spiritual content. Content, I mean lyrics or words or, songs or, hymns and mantras and kirtans. I mean, our tradition is such an ancient vast that a few hundred lifetimes would be short. So naturally, there was always an inclination, even by listening from childhood, mantra music. And at some point, it started happening through kirtan in the ashram in Pune. And every now and then, I would experiment with that. But when I released my first CD, Sattva, where I had included few mantras, and the response has been overwhelming since then. And also, I was attending a lot of meditation retreats with my master, Gurudev. So Gurudev used to play a lot of mantra music in the meditations, whether it is Vipassana or whether it is after some active meditations. So I could slowly absorb and understand the effect of mantras when they are put to music. And since we are trained in Indian classical music, so you understand what is the significance of the incorporation of mantras in Indian classical music, the ragas, the ras, the bhav. And so since then, I was always looking for something which has deep meaning, which has deep vibration, and I would select it. Sometimes they are related to certain deities, so we would call it Saguna mantra. And sometimes it is a Nirguna mantra. Nirguna mantra meaning, it is not talking about a person as such. Let's say Asato ma sadgamaya tamso ma. It's not talking about anybody. It's a straight away prayer or a mantra. So, both the qualities have its beauty. And to put them to some, based on some raga, it, I think, enhances the energy of the mantra also. So that work was already going on, and it kind of got more concentrated when I started traveling to Europe and America, and especially since last 4 years that I'm living here. And like you said, because there are many thousands of mantra singers. So here in the West, there are people, especially people who are related to practices of yoga, asana, pranayama, or any other Eastern Indian mystic path. They could be, Advaita Vedanta or any other thing, or even the Bhakti path. A lot of people are, connected with the Bhakti. So through all these channels, there has been an immense interest and attraction towards mantras and kirtans. So, but what has happened in the last 20 years or so, that, a lot of people from here who maybe they are musicians, they were musicians, but they were musicians from their own genre. Let's say, call it rock, pop, or whatever they do. And maybe they found something interesting in this Eastern content and some appeal in it. So they started putting those texts to their own music. And no matter how they sound, I'm not going there right now, but just because there is a certain power in the Sanskrit vocabulary, Sanskrit sounds, people like it. People like to sing along, chant, listen to. So that's why also a lot of so-called mantra singers started emerging here. Almost every third street or fourth street, you will find somebody who claims that they are mantra singers. So, but what when I saw that, I felt a certain responsibility coming from India, having learned, classical music. And also this tradition is so rich, so vast, so ancient, that a little bit of misrepresentation kind of hurts. Like, as you know, when you are a ragdari person, and when you know that darbari should be presented in a certain way, and when you hear the same darbari twisted or something, then you will feel that, then don't call it darbari. Play it, enjoy it, but don't call it darbari.
Yes, definitely,
Yeah?
definitely.
So
That honesty should be there.
Yeah. So then through my work, and sometimes when I would come across these so-called mantra singers, I would explain them, look guys, what you're doing is nothing wrong with it, but please understand that mantra is from India. So if you decide to put them to music, then it should carry the fragrance, flavor, essence of India. If you hear it, if somebody hears it, he or she should feel like, it's coming from India. Every musical tradition has its richness. Like I live here in Switzerland, or if I was living in Spain, every country has their here. The yodle music came from here.
Hmm.
जो हमारे वहाँ किशोर कुमार वगैरह जो गाते रहते थे,
Hmm.
उसका ओरिजिन मेरे यहाँ से it's 1 hour from my house.
Hmm.
The origin of yodel music, the yodeling,
Hmm.
what we call, right?
Hmm.
So now imagine if I start yodeling like,
Hmm.
they would tell me, hey Manish, this is not how yodel is supposed to sound. So the same way I explained that look, you just cannot put mantras to 4 chords and in rock and roll or reggae or rap or jazz or techno or trance. And then it just sounds like you are replacing I love you baby with a mantra.
Hmm.
If I sing Ave Maria, which is a beautiful Christian hymn, it has its own way.
Hmm.
I cannot sing Amazing Grace in Rag Darbari.
Hmm.
It has its own grace in its own way, in its original way. So that has been a work. And because of that, I also had to go deeper into my own studies of mantra, the language, the pronunciation, the energy behind it. What is the actual science of it?
Hmm.
So all that has helped my personal growth at the end of the day, really.
Yeah,
I don't care
indeed.
about if people understood it or not, though I know that in the work of especially last 4 years,
Hmm.
uh, a lot of people who have come in contact with me in whole of Europe, and they have understood something that, okay, so this is how it is.
Hmm.
And some of the sincere ones have been continuing that practice either through learning in person or through connecting with the right music, to the right music and musician, and especially from India. Amazing people have done amazing work in the field of mantra from India. So I also connect them to them. Like, look, if you want to really hear some beautiful mantra music, here are the gems. They may not
Hmm.
be the stars, performing stars and touring all over the West,
Hmm.
but that's not the tradition in India anyway. Many
Hmm.
great musicians, Pandit Jasraj, was he touring or something? No, he would have performance occasionally. And many times in India, there have been some great musicians, but totally unknown.
Hmm.
So it's not about stardom and all that. It's about really connecting with the source.
And have you tried to, like, I can hear, I feel that you have put so much research into it, so much thought has been put into it, effort is there to really, like, present a better, appropriate perspective regarding all these things. So, have you tried to, like, put it together all into some kind of project, or like, so that
Mhm.
people can, okay.
Yes, because I see that there is an immense interest here in people, but sometimes when interest is not only enough, when the right when if they don't connect to the source, then something else is replaced, and
Mm-hmm.
not everybody goes into the depth of everything. So whatever is supplied, they believe, this must be true.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
that's why I felt, okay, I think it is time to create a certain project of a kind where people can visually see.
Okay.
So since last 2 years or so, we have been working on a documentary project on mantra. I've called it
Wow.
The True World of Mantra, a documentary. You know,
Wow. Wow.
so in that documentary, we are going to share all this depth of our ancient tradition and what was the actual purpose of the sadhana of mantra, and
Hmm.
especially when it comes to the music with mantra, what kind of music is the right appropriate music which ultimately helps the practitioner or the listener to go
Hmm.
deeper into their beings.
Hmm.
So we have interviewed some amazing musicians from India who have
Okay.
worked in this field,
Hmm.
and not only, of course, because when we talk about mantra, we think about India. So obviously, it makes, without any
Sense.
question, you will think that most of the people who are going to be showcased in this documentary are going to be from India. It's like
Naturally.
if I make a movie on flamenco music, most of the people are going to be from Spain, naturally.
Pain.
You know,
Definitely.
but apart from that, here in the West also, I've found some rare people who have somehow managed to remain connect with that source in India with their training, with the years of time spent with the right teachers and the right scholars. So we have included them also, who have that openness and connectivity with the authentic sources. So it's going to be a wonderful project, of course, because of this, COVID situation. The project has been halted, but I'm hoping that as soon as this will open up, I still have many more people to interview, and then
And
it could be about
like,
a 1 hour documentary, one and a half
okay,
hour
okay.
documentary. Yes.
I thought you were planning to maybe put it into a kind of series or like 15-minute each section, or it can. I didn't know. I'm just
So far,
wondering.
the idea is to make one piece,
Okay.
maybe either a 60 or 90-minute project. Series is not my idea really, but anything can happen. The main point is to connect people to this right source.
Okay.
Because what happens, Manish, that a lot of people have interest in many ancient practices and signs of India here, especially in the West.
Yes. Yes.
But not all of them are able to connect with the authentic source.
Definitely.
So many times, whatever the local people who claim to have learned these things in India, whatever they say, the people believe it. Okay, this must be true.
Yes.
But when you from India come, you say, hey, wait a minute, it's not supposed to be like that. So that is the whole idea, that when people will visually see it, then my intention is not to change people's opinion, because you cannot change anybody, but to kind of show them that, see, this is sun and this is moon, or this is real, this is fake. If you like fake, there's no problem, enjoy it with all your heart. Who am I to stop you? But at least you should know the difference. ठीक है ना? बस उतना ही है.
And you are planning to, how will you release it? Like on YouTube or some special release
Well,
platform?
hopefully on a better platform.
Okay.
But right now the focus is not that. Right now the focus is, of course,
To complete it first.
To finish the remaining work in India and in other places, and then editing is a big work. So, but we will have a team who will work on it and all that.
Okay.
And then, once a beautiful product is there, then I'm sure it will find its way to reach people. Again, here it's not, I'm a musician, I'm not a filmmaker. But all this distortion that I saw here and what is being promoted in the name of mantra, then I could not tolerate it. It's not about Indian or Western. No. Ultimately, everybody is one. We know that. But still, जो जैसा है वो वैसा है. What see things as they are. So it's like Nisargadatta Maharaj used to say, to see the real, you have to know false is false. So that is the main intention. What is the real picture and fragrance of this beautiful practice?
Very good, very sincere project, and you have put.
It's not about promoting me, because I'm nowhere there. You may not even see me in the whole film. So I make a lot of mantra music, but it's not about me really, because
I understand. We understand, because the sincerity with which you have initiated this project, because you felt that okay, some things should be put right here. The perspectives at least should be put right here. I mean, whatever the motive is, only this, that okay, the perspective should be put right. That's all.
Otherwise, if that aspect is not brought out, then people would continue to believe what is already there available.
Already there. Yeah, definitely. It's
so if they have both the perspective, then it's their choice.
Then they can choose, and it's up to them to decide what they want. And they can also decide both. It's
whatever. I have no goal in that. My goal is to, present the real thing, and then
beautiful.
Leave it to existence.
So why not we do a mantra right away?
ठीक है, एक छोटा सा करते हैं, because sometimes musical is
B में ही करना.
Yeah. Shivaranyan. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Deva, Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Bhavaतीतं त्रिगुणारहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि Bhavaतीतं त्रिगुणारहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि
Wow.
सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि.
Wow. बहुत सुंदर, बहुत सुंदर, बहुत सुंदर. Very nice. Very, very nice.
So this is also, part of, meaning I took this as an example, is that, see, now we are talking about the guru, the grace, the grandeur, the blessing of a guru. So how, through which raga we can bring in its best possible. So that is the role of the raga, Otherwise, mantra can be sung even in one note, no? But if you want to, I always say that when we want to bring it to music, it's a great responsibility. Because I don't think mantras need music. But if we decide to put mantras to music, then it is our responsibility to maintain that energy of the mantra, and if possible, how to enhance it through the right music. So, choice of the right raga, the composition, the mood, maintaining that mood is important. That is my personal understanding.
Do you think that some have tried this, and I support this in some way, that like they also create bands of spiritual music, like, and they present very nicely the spiritual text, singing or certain things. So I also see many people are already doing this, that people are joining as a mantra bands, let's say, or spiritual music bands now. Not only like we have seen so many of fusion music bands and Sufi music bands and other genres also. But I also have been seeing people doing sincere music. They are putting great music into the meaningful text they find in other cultures also. They take other cultures also, and they bring that beautifully towards an audience, which then the audience can listen to so many traditions of music, the spirituality also combined together in a beautiful bouquet of offerings, let's say, which which like can enrich with one flavor plus another, then another. Suppose you have the Tibetan chants coming in, then Indian mantras are there, then a kirtan is there, but then baul music is there, and then Sufi zikr is also there. And this brings me to again to this point that you have been doing Sufi music also before that. So how different is the Sufi music? Like when you think of Sufi music, what are your takeaways? Like what do you think of? How do you put Sufi music together?
See, I think also our upbringing in India exposes us to a lot of genres, and especially if you are a musician, you receive many things more, powerfully. though you may be a student of a certain genre or a practitioner of a certain genre, but you cannot remain untouched by the other flavors. And if you are a little open and experimental, you would, bring it into your own field also. So if you remember that somehow all these varieties of creativity, for me, all happened in the Osho commune.
Me too.
Yeah. So
Same.
I remember I started as a tabla player.
Yeah.
Okay, in 1988, Swami Yashwandev, if you remember,
Yeah.
he was doing kirtans, and there was like 25 people group, but they had no tabla player. So okay, somehow I was called, and then from there, everything is history. But that journey started as a tabla player. Now in ashram, because Osho's understanding about music was amazing. So if you look at it, in his center of all his work has been music.
Music.
I think if he hadn't chosen music, his work would be something else.
Yeah, true. Too much mind. Yeah.
So for different kind of music was happening all the time and live. Okay. Apart from some meditations like dynamic Kundalini, there was already great pre-recorded music, so there was no need to do live. But many meditations were being done with live music. So then, sometimes as a tabla player, I was suddenly invited into a Gurdjieff dance or a whirling meditation. So then, although I was a student of Indian classical music and ठीक है थोड़ा बहुत कीर्तन में बजा लेता था वगैरह, but then your boundary starts expanding. So and of course, that time I was exposed to none other than Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, Abida Parveen, Sabri brothers, फिर हमारे यहाँ के वो Vadali brothers, of course Jagjit Singh, who even came to ashram and we did a lot of stuff together. So through all that, other influence started coming. Especially Nusrat's music completely blew me away, completely inspired me like anything. And when I started composing music, a lot of influence from this great artists started coming. Then in the ashram, I was conducting the Sufi whirling meditation. So that was a responsibility many times. So then, you have to kind of mold yourself into that area. You have to get away from kirtan. You have to get away from classical music. You have to get away from ghazal.
And how effortlessly we used to do that. Like suddenly in the morning we are in Sufi zone, and in the evening we are in a mantra zone, let's say Indian zone, and in the after white robe and after dinner night, we are into some ghazal zone or whatever.
Yeah. So Sufi splendor is. So then from that point, an idea came to bring out a CD. So that group we jointly recorded in one studio in Pune, and that CD came out as Sufi Splendor. So that was my first venture into recording something Sufi. So every now and then I bring that Sufi flavor into my concerts, and but you see, because we are from India and we have, as you are a student of music, I'm also a student of music. At the bottom of all the music is classical music or the folk music. So then when when our roots are strong, to experiment in other genres is not so difficult. We may not be master at it. Maybe like, you are a Mohan Meena player. You may not be master like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan or something, but you may be still able to bring some genuine flavor into the Sufi music also, that you may do it. So same way it was with me, that, you are continuously surrounded by these sounds. So then for us, it's easy, like, if some European, it's easy to bring their flavor of music. For us, it was easy to bring that flavor. And so I've loved the tradition of Sufism and Sufi music. And, it's a journey of devotion, bhakti, dissolving with energy. You see, mantra music is different energy. You cannot compare it.
No, no, no.
But in that way, I think being in the field of Osho and for me with Gurudev, such a vast spectrum opened for spiritual music. Entertainment तो बाजू में हो गया. Who cares about entertainment? The range of spiritual music is so vast that we could keep on experimenting it, and
I
it can
totally
be
agree and
endless.
relate, because Manish, we used to, I mean, whatever we are right now is thanks to those years in Osho Ashram, because it had, I mean, musically especially, I mean, I would say, because
Yeah.
it had enriched, blossomed us into the world musician we can now we can see all genres, whichever makes an impact on us, we can immediately understand and kind of blend in very easily. And there's no mental barrier or, oh, this is what and this is that. This we simply melt into it as per the situation, as per the genre, as per the requirement, as plus the musical requirement, as per the spiritual requirement, as per whatever, because as a being we simply flow, and we feel that as if, okay, this is also our own genre.
Yeah.
Because so effortlessly Osho's work was so immense in so many levels that like it was such a big university for creative people. Like anybody, we were on daily basis exposed to African music suddenly, and then suddenly this Gurdjieff thing is happening, and then suddenly this classical thing is happening, and then this high energy pumping, and you are like wild, wild, wild,
Yeah.
and then so shanti, 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 and it's incredible those times.
No, it opened up a lot of boundaries, so that
Yeah,
sometimes I think sometimes Indian classical musicians live in this a little,
yeah, I
that
totally agree to
I
that.
don't play non-classical music.
Totally agree to this.
Right now I just saw on this chat, I think one of my favorite tabla players, Alok Verma from UK, is watching this. And so like tabla players like this, they can play in anything and everything. So you tell them, okay, let's do a kawali, they will do kawali. We say, okay, अभी 3 ताल में एक बंदिश बजाएंगे, no problem. Then you say, okay, ghazal or fusion. So I think versatility is nowadays, I think it's the dimension of life. I totally respect those classical people and all that, who have done one-dimensional work and gone into depth into it, and hats off to them. And I think people like us chose this, where we kind of try to expand into different things, and it gives a lot of joy to also for us. And then if we are able to share it with people, then to people also. So yes,
Very true, very true.
So especially if I have a proper concert where I don't have a genre specific, I mix all these things.
Yeah,
I mix classical, I mix tarana, then mantra, then kirtan, then Sufi, and then again it goes to silence. So, but always intention is, you start with the silent, you bring the graph up, energy, and then again bring it back to silence. I would always end my concert with a Shanti mantra, Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. A genuine intention for everybody. So again, मतलब बूंद समानी समुद्र में वापिस.
So beautiful, very nice.
Yeah.
So shall we do something Sufi right now, just for
Sufi.
sake of
Arey baap.
something in Bhairavi? We can do anything in Bhairavi, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can do. If that's the end of our talk, then yes.
It doesn't matter. We can.
Okay. So there is this beautiful song which I have called "In Search."
Oh, wow.
And it's some beautiful lyrics I found many years ago. And I was in a meditation retreat of 40 days with my master. And also in that retreat, I met my wife. And somehow out of that connection of meditation, silence, love, everything, this composition came, and I called it "In Search."
Wow, beautiful.
So, of course, the lyrics are in Urdu. So, just to give you a little idea, the lyrics are तुझे ढूंढता था मैं चार सू तेरी शान जल्ले जलाल हूँ. Meaning, I was looking for you everywhere. Your grandeur is present everywhere. तेरी शान जल्ले जलाल. तू मिला करीबे रगे गुलू. So the poet is saying that though I was searching for you everywhere, where did I find you? As close as the vein of my neck. तू मिला करीबे रगे गुलू तेरी
Wow.
शान जल्ले जलाल.
Yeah.
So somehow these
So
lyrics
it's
and
Sufi,
the
na? It's
it is
Sufi.
yeah. So for you know, in Sufism, many people in the West don't know that the poet will always represent him as a woman and the god or the divinity or the
Beloved,
master
beloved.
as
Yes,
the
the
beloved.
beloved.
That
Yeah.
so that longing is always there.
Yeah. It's a love affair situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
तुझे ढूंढता था
Wow.
मैं चाहूं तेरी शान चले चला तू मिला करीब रगे गुलू तेरी शान चले चला तेरी शान चले चला तेरी शान चले जला क्या बात बाबा क्या बात तेरी याद में है कली कली है चमन चमन में हुबल अली तेरी याद में है कली कली है चमन चमन में हुबल अली तू बसा है फूल में हूबहू तेरी शान चले चला तेरे हुक्म से जो हवा चली तो चटक के बोली कली कली तेरे हुक्म से जो हवा चली तो चटक के बोली कली कली है रहीम तू है करीम तू तेरी शान चले चला तेरी शान चले चला तेरी शान चले जला
Sing now. क्या बात है?
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु
Wow.
सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Great, man. Thank you so much. It was amazing
Thank you.
experience to be with you
Arre,
energetically and online. At least we could connect and bring back so much from our treasure memories
yes.
and experiences, which are so amazing.
Thank you. Thank
So
you. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, it was, of course, great to play with you and brought some good memories. Maybe you should come here so we can play more music.
I will surely, brother. Don't worry.
Uh,
I'm
because here
into
we
it.
have a great shortage of Indian musicians who play good
Okay.
Indian rag music and all that. And I
And
was seeing sometimes there were some requests from some people of some different mantras or songs, but if I could not fulfill it, sorry. We have a short time, but well,
you all who have been here, we acknowledge them all. But I have seen that if I go into their comments, then the flow is so much broken many times, and so much important things come up when in the flow. So, anyways, thank you so much, my dear brother.
thank
I
you,
wish
Manish.
you all the best, all the bless.
Same to
Inshallah, we
you.
play together at
Yes,
some point, some place,
absolutely.
and
I'm really waiting and looking forward to that. Maybe in India, otherwise here, somewhere in
otherwise, or we can
some
do
part
some
of the other world.
recordings also. Like if online is possible, we would stay online. What to do?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
And
Absolutely.
so beautiful. I'm so blessed to have you as my friend, as my fellow traveler, Manish Bhai. All
Thank
the
you.
best to you
Same here.
always, and to your family, to your wife, and your whole situation in Switzerland. Stay
Yes.
blessed,
Thank you,
and
Manish.
uh, and we meet inshallah soon. Okay, please take
Absolutely.
care.
You too.
Yeah, please
Namaste.
take care. Namaste, namaste, namaste.